Developing circle of competence is something I believe can be done, though it is time consuming and difficult, and only on certain things I believe it can be done. Uh, so the reason I say this is because I've sort of cloned a technique from someone online called Chris Camillo. They are quite big on YouTube actually, and have done a few interviews as well in the past, just for their essentially amazing trading slash investing results. This individual having averaged 70% returns for a decade, if not more, which is just ridiculous. And of course, but because of the nature of his sort of investing slash trading, it's a lot of the time it came to less than a year, the position being held. So taxes and other items sort of halted the appreciation of his assets, which had a knock-on effect, but of the compounding. But that's anyway. Regardless, that's not the point of this video. What I wanted to sort of explain was how he uses social media and speaking to people to develop his competence. So what he does is, back in the day, Chris Camillo would look into Twitter comments to essentially analyze and get an understanding of what people's understanding or feelings and emotions toward a certain company are. Are they being mentioned much more frequently? Are they much more culturally and socially relevant nowadays? This has become less less of a useful method on Twitter, as he has mentioned in some of his videos, due to just essentially the dynamics of Twitter changing. It's no longer a place where people sort of talk about new products they bought, or sort of what they're enjoying, what they've done on their weekend. It's rather now a place of sort of talking about politics and such topics. But another similar platform he uses is Twitter. Not Twitter, sorry, is TikTok and Reddit occasionally as well, where you can sort of understand and what is going on with the products. He emphasizes TikTok comments as well. This is the place where essentially people have that dialogue, they have that conversation, their thoughts on the product, and you can really understand what is the atmosphere and the sort of vibe with this company, this product as well. I'll give you an example of how I've used this in my investing framework, though I don't sort of, he calls it arb trading, social arb trading, where he takes advantage of a gap in knowledge, which he knows through this method. What I have used it for is to sort of understand what is the consumer satisfaction with the product. Is it a loved product? Is it a hated product? Is it sort of unknown? Is it not talked about? A good example of this was the Corsair had bought out a new company, and I was essentially understanding what was the consumer sentiment among the gaming rig chairs that they offer, and the general gaming chair, the rigs products they offer, the accessories that come with this, and just sort of understanding what are the issues, what consumers really love about this product. And the first couple things I noticed were the videos did provide some value, and they did mention sort of like the quality of the product, but a lot of times these can be sponsored, they can have sort of biases. Not to say that comments don't, but I think the comments give you a more realistic view of what the consumer's actually after and what's their opinion. And in the comments, I saw quite often that there was mention of other competitors and how quite often consumers would start off with a Logitech set and then actually work their way up to this set as they became more matured. So I think that was an insight I hadn't known, that often quite consumers have like an entry brand that they go into with Logitech and then sort of work their way up to this new one as they become more entrenched in the space and as they enjoy the products more often and use them more often. A secondary thing was that they're one of the biggest players. This company, they've done quite well, and generally consumers are quite happy with it, and it's sort of a mix between this product, this company, and the company Forza, which also produce these gaming products. And a third thing was the fact that the business has a high demand. However, they were struggling to meet logistics and shipping. I've heard consumers quite often talking about the delay and joking about the the shipping times taking 6 to 12 weeks, or actually complaining about the shipping time taking 6 to 12 weeks, which can have a large knock-on effect for consumer demand. I mean, if I was knowing that I had to wait 6 to 12 weeks, I think I might go to a different brand in certain instances. But to me, it also should highlight to an extent the brand loyalty, because consumers still opted to choose the company even though they knew they'd be waiting 6 to 12 weeks. And I mean, with this acquisition, that the logistics should be sorted anyway, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But I do think it's something to take note of. Um, that you can sort of really understand what's going on with this product. Another thing he mentions is that this is obviously a time consuming method which isn't as easily applicable, but he would, for example, go to different stores in various cities and speak to the people working there to get an understanding and a gauge of what's going on with this product, what's the general sentiment. So just going to the stores, seeing the shelves, are they empty, are they full, are they constantly fully stocked, how often they be stocked, getting an understanding from the staff working there, and speaking to customers as well, people you know in your daily lives as well, that sort of know this, hanging out in some forums they may hang out on, just to really get an understanding for the product. And this is, I believe, a way that you can build circle of competence for consumer products as well and brands. So I think that's a way you can build the understanding, and it's a way for me to assess the quality of a brand as well. If I'm going in to buy a company, I might not necessarily be trading off the back of the news or the demand, but I can at least get a much deeper insight. Is the sentiment generally negative? Is it generally positive? Is it sort of forgotten and it's mediocre? What are the strengths, what are the weaknesses? It really gives a better understanding of the brand, and it can help speed up your development of a circle of competence in that area, especially